quality assessments. Let's start whenever you're ready.
So, my name is Silverio Martinez Fernandez. I come from the Technical University of Barcelona. I'm going to present QPRES, which is a service-oriented framework for predictive services quality assessment. I have done this work with my PhD tutor, Xavi Franz, and with another professor from University Pompeu Fabra of Barcelona, Jesus Bisbal. The contents of the presentation are this four. I will start with an introduction, then we will see the architecture that we designed to solve the prediction problem. Then we will see an example implementation of the architecture and to end some conclusions. So let's start with the introduction. The focus of our research are predictive services that are those informational services that show in advance an occurrence or a condition about the future. Due to the success of service technology and SOA, there is a big offer of services covering many predictive domains, such as weather forecast, stock market prices, drug design models, flight delays, research in betting shop and bookmakers, and other more technical ones as the prediction of performance of web services. So the problem that we want to solve is given a portfolio of candidate predictive services, which one is expected to be the most accurate to satisfy some given customer needs. So in other words, if we have a list of different providers offering similar services, which one is supposed to be the best one for the customer. And this is really important to trust in the provider. And it depends on the client business needs. In this context, in the context of predictive services, the most important business need is the quality of the accuracy of the predictions. And we will see it in an example very familiar to all of us. This is the seaside of Barcelona, where I come from. For instance, to check, to decide what to wear first thing in the morning or when to make a trip, we check different predictive services, such as the weather woman or man, or maybe some specialized website. What happens if we choose, but sometimes these services disagree. So what happens if we choose an inaccurate predictive service? We might expect with weather, we buy the tickets to go to visit, for instance, in this example, the city, but we can experience a winter storm. So our framework, and this could also happen in other predictive domains. So we want to solve this problem of selecting the most accurate predictive service. So our framework has four input. First, of course, the list of predictive services that or providers that we can choose, and the ground truth service. The ground truth service, in the example of the weather forecast domain, it's the real observations that are collected on location. So, for instance, in the weather forecast domain, if we ask for the prediction, the weather forecast for tomorrow, then tomorrow the weather station will collect the real data, the real observation, and the day after tomorrow we will compare over time the quality of the predictions, and then we can evaluate the predictive service. The third input is the predictive context, that it's, for instance, the current date and the city where the customer is. It also contains all the key parameters that determine the accuracy of the predictions. And the last one is the customer query. For instance, in this case, it could be, I want to know the weather forecast for tomorrow in Salamanca. So with all these four inputs, our framework will give us two results. First, the predictive service with the highest likelihood to be right. And second, with this analysis, we can identify the key parameters that determine the predictions accuracy of services. For instance, in this case, one key parameter would be the locality. For instance, one service provides better forecast for one city and worse for another. Or for instance, forecaster has more quality when they have been done 1 day in advance instead of a week in advance. So in order to do this, we need to use two techniques. The first one is service monitoring. That is the one that we use to observe the behavior of services. So we set in a systematic manner the predictions that the predictive services are making. And second, forecast verification. That is the process of assessing the quality and accuracy of a prediction by comparing a forecast with its real and corresponding observation. We need both techniques because if we collect the data by service monitoring and we don't perform the forecast verification, we cannot evaluate the services. And to make the second technique, we need to recollect the data first. We need the data. So this is our framework, the architecture of our framework. Let's see step by step. First, we have the predictive services and the ground truth service that give the observations. Then, with the monitor, we monitor the predictions and we save them. And then the core of the framework first collect both observations and predictions. They are saved in the ground truth database and the forecast data database. And then the forecast verifier is responsible of making this evaluation of the predictive service. The framework has two front ends that are the web client for human customer and a web service for any other external service. Then the results that we have are three. First, we get a list of a ranking of the predictive services that are better for the customer. Second, if the customer is not interested in the best in contracting just one service, but using the best service in every moment, the invocator component redirects directly after the evaluation to the best one. And third, we can, as I said before, we can analyze, we can classify the different predictive services by the key parameters that determine the accuracy of the services. So let's see how our proof of concept, we have developed a tool for the weather forecast domain. So first of all, we needed to found a ground truth service and different predictive services. For the ground truth service, we are taking data from the Spanish Meteorological Agency that give us the real observations from weather stations from more than 700 cities in Spain, and they provide daily summaries with, for instance, high and low temperatures and other weather conditions. And on the other hand, we have the predictive services among we need to choose. The two first ones are Spanish and the third one is international. As we see, predictive services from different providers are not exactly the same. For instance, this one gives predictions a day in advance and the other in fewer days in advance. And we have one problem here, that is that providers, of course, don't offer the services by free. So we have used these three public information from public institutions, and we developed three web services with the same interface that read from these XML files, and that we check every day. So then we need to monitorize this predictive service. For this purpose, we have used the monitoring tool that has been also implemented in our research group, SAMO. So we save not only the predictions, but also the response but also some quality values in execution time, like response time or availability. And then we have the core of the framework. Here we perform two tasks. The first one is to collect the data, the observations from the ground truth service and the predictions from the monitor. And then the most important thing, the forecast verifier component. Here, to evaluate every predictive service, we compare the observations with the forecast by means of two errors, the mean square error and the approximation error. And then we can get the three results that I was commenting before. We make a ranking of predictive services. The ones that have the less error are the more accurate ones. Then we can also, another functionality could be to redirect to the best services in execution time. And it also helps to study the key parameters of the predictive context. So let's see a little example from our web client application. These are two screenshots. Imagine that you want to know the weather forecast for a city, in this case Lleida, a Catalan city in the north of Spain. So this first graph shows the real observations, the real observation for the high temperature of the 31st of July last year. And then these dotted lines are the three different predictive services that perform the predictions. As we see, in just this figure, we can see that 7 days, the prediction that was made 7 days in advance was not as accurate as the last one that was made in the day before. We also see different characteristics of the predictive service. These make predictions since 7 days in advance, 6 days in advance, 5 days in advance, these 2 days in advance, and this only 1 day in advance. But this is all the predictions are just high temperatures here. And then in the second graph, the most important one, we see the error. In the x-axis, we see the dates, and in the y-axis, we see the errors that this predictive service have been making every day. So we see that this service, the blue one, let's say, it's the most accurate one because it has the lowest errors. However, it depends. For instance, this day, this other predictive service was better. So that's here we can analyze to which service is, for instance, better to redirect the following days. And some conclusions and future work. We performed a systematic literature review, and we found out that forecast verification based on service-oriented architectures deserve more attention. These monitoring frameworks, these monitoring tools, do not have a forecast verification components. They don't include it, and we think that it would be interesting to add these forecast verification components. So we have developed a generic service-oriented architecture that performs forecast verification with observations over time. Its main characteristic is that it's scalable and easy to integrate with other systems. And to see how it works, we have developed a proof of concept of this generic architecture for the weather forecast domain, although it's applicable to other domains. As future work, we plan to apply this architecture to these other domains that I saw in the first slide, apart from the weather forecast domain. However, here there are some challenges. For instance, it's really difficult to map between observations and predictions. Sometimes
in this domain, in weather forecast domain, the rainfall probability, for prediction, the rainfall is given by probability, by a percentage, and the observations are given by liter per meter. So sometimes this is difficult to map and to compare. Other challenges is which error. For instance, we use the mean square error and the approximation error, but there are a long list of errors, so we need to identify which errors behave better in each case. Another important point for future work is identifying the current knowledge about the key parameters that determine predictive services quality. In order to do that, we will perform data mining over the data that we have collected. And until now, we have only focused on the quality of the predictions, but we also want to study the value of the predictions. How valuable are the predictions for the customer? How much, for instance, money they can save or gain if they have right predictions. That's all. You can contact us by mail. Thank you if you have some comment or questions.
So, any question? Look, I just have one simple question. Comparing to other predictive services, what are the advantages of this architecture compared to others? I mean, are there some advantages
the first intention is to help the customer to choose the best predictive service. This would be the main advantage, but there is like a hidden advantages, that is what I said in future work, that we can determine under which conditions maybe predictions are going to, there is a risk, let's say, in believing in the predictions. So this is what we need to find out with data mining. This predictive context that I was mentioning before is what really we think that is the direction of this work.
You mentioned that you are going to use that applied in other domains.
Yeah.
So what sort of domain do you have in mind and what areas you want to operate?
Yeah, so, well, we have seen previous research. The thing is that in this systematic literature review, the things that we saw is that, of course, a lot of research has been done in this field, but the approaches are not service-oriented. So some of them were moving to service-oriented approaches because it has some advantages like being able of having vast computing power, or also in this kind of applications you have the information and the knowledge spread over different systems, so to integrate all of them. Maybe we will start to apply it for healthcare recommended system, although the previous work that we have seen, it's about bookmakers and predictions in betting shops and things like that. I don't know if there is.
Yeah. I've just got one simple question.
Okay.
Do you think you can bring this to application to the level that you can do it on Apple phone?
Application in the mobile phone. Well,
to make it, to convert it to become an app.
Yeah, but here.
Yeah, if so, what do you think it would be?
Well, I think that it would be. This is the second result technology, let's say, this relate to the best service. I think that it's the opportunity here, because the normal customer, let's say, they are not interested in the best predictive service or why are they better. They just want to take the mobile phone, say I want the prediction of whatever, the weather tomorrow in Salamanca, and give me the most likely to be right, and hide all the rest because I don't care about it. So yeah, then here in this mobile application, let's say, the most important component would be this invocator component that first make the evaluation of compares the predictive service and then give you just the prediction that you want. But yeah, this would be
Thank you very much.
what else?